my computer or something.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Do you want to ask me the question? Or
Sure. Well, hell, let's just start over.
Yeah, let's start over. All good, man.
What is up, party people? It's Dan, your basement guitar superstar. Today is another episode of Creator Spotlight, and I am here with one of my all-time favorites. Him and Leigh Fuge are the two channels that I have not missed a video in the last year and a half, and that is Mike from CGS. So give me a hand or give him a hand for joining me. Mike, thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, it's an absolute pleasure. And can I add, happy birthday to you?
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
That's a pleasure, man.
Yeah, for sure. So Mike, talk to me about how you got started playing guitar, because I don't think, if you've mentioned that on a live stream or one of your other videos, I didn't catch that at all.
Yeah, I reckon I have mentioned it once or twice, but it's not often a question I get asked. But basically, my folks were very good friends with my godparents, obviously.
Right.
That's how come they ended up being my godparents. And my godfather, Ferg, used to play guitar, and he had this incredible Vox, like a 335. In fact, I think I've shown it on the channel a couple of times. And we used to go down and play with their kids, and we always wanted to open this guitar case and play around with the high strings behind the nut and down by the big speed style trem. And so we used to fiddle about with that. And then one day I just, he let me get it out the case, and I was just noodling on it and making up a tune and copying some tunes, because I already played the piano from about age 10. And he just said to me, take it home with you. You can have it. And that's how I got started. Literally, my godfather. Amazing guy.
Nice. And so you still have that, obviously, because I think I remember you showing that on the channel.
Yeah, absolutely. I've only ever got rid of one guitar, and that's because I needed to buy something at the time. I think I was buying the Art SGX 2000 effects unit. And I had to let my my Gibson Les Paul Studio in wine red go to afford to buy that. But other than that, I have kept every piece of gear, every guitar that I've ever owned, other than ones that I've given away. So I've never sold a piece of gear.
Wow. So how old were you when you got given that guitar then?
Wow. I was 14, I think, or 13 or 14. I was quite young at that stage. I was playing the piano from 10 and really enjoyed playing the piano. And I actually, tell a lie, I think I was 12, because it took a couple of years of me showing that I was interested. And then my folks bought me a guitar at age 14. And I think that was the 14-year thing.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've been playing a few years now, man. Literally.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
30 years.
And for those of you watching, too, Mike is a lot better guitarist than he'll give himself credit for. After 42 Gear Street last year, I saw that video you shredding on that yellow guitar, and I'm like, I'm not worthy. And so you're a lot better player than you give yourself credit for.
That's way too kind, man. I don't rate myself as a guitar player, but then I don't really worry about rating guitar players. I think that guitar playing is it's just a joy. You know, I really don't mind whether people see me as good or average or poor. Really, for me, I just love picking the guitar up and noodling around. Writing songs is my big thing, my main thing. And I really don't mind if people think I play well, lovely. If they think I play awful, then, you know, I'm not bothered by that. I just love playing, man. And I think that's what it's all about.
Nice. So did you take lessons then when you were 14, or how did that work? Are you self-taught?
No, never.
Really?
Yeah, literally. I used to listen to Iron Maiden songs and work them out by ear. And then I used to buy, do you remember? I don't know if you remember, you're probably too young, but back in the day, we used to get magazines, and the magazines would have tab in them. And I used to learn a lot of stuff from the tabs in the magazines. And also I bought books from Iron Maiden to work out, lead lines and stuff like that. But most of it, I just worked out by ear. And that's why my uncle, my godfather, I should say, gave me the guitar in the first place, because he could see that I was really into it and working out like tunes. And I think he thought the guy is obviously pretty serious about it. So that's why he gave it to me.
Nice. Now, did you play in bands and stuff then too?
Yeah. From the age of 16, I was in bands right up until, I was in a band about, let me see, it's got to be coming on for 5 years ago now, which is a real shame, because we sort of got a band back together just before the lockdown, and I was going to get out gigging with them as well. But of course, the whole lockdown happens, and that was 2 years worth of sitting alone and jamming out at home. But no, I've played in bands pretty much all my life. I've been in probably, I would say, a good 20 different bands, and various different guises. I've been in function bands where I've just played, covers and stuff like that, right down to a couple of bands I was with, I did all the writing for, and also I was lead singer as well as guitarist in the three-piece for about 8 years. And we had quite a big following around the mid Sussex area in the UK, and I've always played. I've always loved playing live. It's just the opportunity hasn't come around more recently.
Sure. What was that band called that you were in? I kind of want to look you guys up.
Right, you won't find it because it's so long ago. But you can look up Power Toys by all means, but you won't find them, because these were back in the day before we really had the internet. So finding stuff from back then is pretty tricky. I was also in a band.
Will you send me?
I'll send. Yeah, of course. I'll send you some tracks if I can find them. That's awesome. The thing. Funny thing is, I still play a lot of the material from back in the day. I've got a few acoustic songs that people still, friends of mine, when they come over and we have an evening, they'll still say, play Coming Home or play True. And I literally, I'll show you. I'll play you a little bit of a song that was called Coming Home, and I can still remember it. Mind you, it would help if it was in tune.
Right. Is that a Harley Benton? That's a beautiful guitar.
Yeah, I love this guitar. That's better. So that was one of them, and the other one I played a few times on the channel, just in passing, and that. That was True, or at least
I recognize that one.
So, I occasionally play these things just just to sort of give me something to play when I'm demoing guitars and stuff. So yeah, I still play them. The trouble is at the minute, the real shame is I can't really sing them because I think you're probably aware I've been having a bit of an issue with speech and stuff like that. So really having trouble singing at the moment, but that was one of my favorite things to do, play guitar and sing and front the band. All good stuff, real good fun.
Sure. My it just so happens that like my three of my top five favorite guitarists are from England, so I think you all have all the good musicians.
Go on, tell me, who are they?
Gavin Rossdale from Bush is who got me wanting to play guitar initially.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
then Mick Jones from Foreigner and Jimmy
Right.
Page.
Oh, Jimmy Page. I knew he had to be in there somewhere. I was thinking it's either going to be Clapton or Page, or, if you're really out there, then Jeff Beck, because Jeff
Oh, yeah.
Beck's an amazing player.
Jeff Beck's in my top
yeah,
10 for sure.
Oh yeah, and Brian May. I mean, we've been really lucky here in the UK. We have, you guys in the States really gave us rock and roll back in the '60s. But then what the guys over here did with it, especially in terms of guitar work, it was quite amazing. And then of course Hendrix come over and showed everybody how to do it properly.
Right. That's interesting you say that, Mike, because I've always felt like the Brits are the ones that gave us the rock and roll.
Well, no, actually, what happened? The story goes that the bands that came out of Liverpool, like the Beatles and the Hollies, and all those sort of bands that were, I say the Hollies, I'm not sure they were out of Liverpool, but a lot of the bands that came out of Liverpool, because it was a dock, what used to happen was a lot of sailors would be coming in from the US and bringing rock and roll music like Elvis and, all of the early 50s type music into Liverpool. And so in Liverpool, they could get really, really cool records in their shops there. And I've often heard Paul McCartney saying this, that they used to listen to all of this this American, rock and roll type sound, and they used to try and emulate it.
Nice.
But of course, added their own spin to it. And what happened was it was exported back to the States, of course, with the Beatles and the like, and, the Mersey Beats and all those sort of bands that came over and did really well in the States. They were all influenced by music from the States.
Well, and it's interesting how things have turned around too, because like here in the US now, our rock and roll scene is completely underground, whereas you guys have a ton of amazing rock and roll bands right now. Like I can name 5 offhand from the UK that are just tearing it up right now. So,
well, the thing with the UK is, I think once we got started with rock and roll and rock music, it really did sort of trigger something in our DNA. And I think there's something about Brits, especially guitar-based rock, and looking at stuff like punk. Obviously, you guys had the New York Dolls and the like, but obviously the Sex Pistols, the Damned, and all those sort of bands.
Clash and
yeah, and also the new wave of British heavy metal that started in the late 70s, early 80s. That was all, UK driven, as was, the original heavy rock and metal stuff. Black Sabbath, to be fair, started it all. And they were from Birmingham. They were from the mining towns around Birmingham. And yeah, man, once we got started, there was no stopping us. And I don't think there is anymore either. We're really into our rock music over here.
yeah. Are you familiar with False Heads at all?
No, I'm not actually. I wonder why I'm not. It sounds vaguely familiar, but
They're in my
where would I
top
know
5
them?
right now. They're from London area, someplace. but
Right.
like they're really like straight ahead angst driven rock. Like they get compared to like Nirvana and Silverchair's heavier stuff all the time.
Right.
If you're
Wow.
into that, check them out. They're really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me them again. I'll write them down.
False Heads.
Forced heads.
False Heads, yeah. And
Okay.
then Scarlet Rebels is another one I love that I just discovered recently too.
Oh, I'm writing that down as well. I'll check them out, man, because the funny thing is that as an aging rocker myself, I only really listen to all the old style stuff, back from the 80s and 90s, and it'd be good to find some new bands to check out. That'd be cool, man.
Yeah, for sure. So what guitar are you most proud of that you own? Yeah, I'm assuming
Oh
it's the one
man.
your step or godparent gave you, or is it something else?
Yeah, I think that's definitely the most sentimentally valuable to me for sure. That, and also there's two others, the Aria Pro 2 RS Wildcat that my parents bought me when I was 14 for Christmas, and also the Philex XG by Famous that I got when I was over. And that Phil X has actually played, and it's still got the strings on it that Phil X played over at GitCon. I would say they're the three guitars that are sentimentally most valuable to me. But in terms of my favorite guitar to play, it's still the purple PRS SE with the blonde neck. I love that guitar. It just plays like a dream. I set it up. It was one of a limited run of 100 of each color done in the SE range, and I couldn't find another one, hence why I bought the pink one recently
Oh, sure.
to complement it. But yeah, that I would say is definitely my favorite guitar to play. I picked that up for everything, and with the coil split on it as well. You've got 3 ways humbucking and 3 ways single coil. It does all the tones I need to do. So yeah, although actually I've got my Fender Strat out behind me at the moment. Let me see if I can grab it. Excuse me. I'll be playing this one.
Nice.
Yeah, this is a 1950s reissue Buddy Holly with only the 2-tone burst.
That's
And
gorgeous.
I've been playing this because somebody asked me to do a Hendrix demo on Amplitube 5, and so yeah, I've got this out to noodle around with that on, and yeah, it's been really fun to get this one out again. This I actually bought because I directed a production of Buddy the musical, and
Oh, sure.
I wanted to get the legit real guitar for it. So yeah, I bought this to do the production, and on the opening night, the guy playing Buddy dropped it.
Oh,
I don't know
no.
if you can. Yeah, I don't know if you can see there. There's a dent in the front of it. So yeah, a bit of a shame on that front, but it's a really nice guitar to play. It's really well set up as well, and as you can hear, it rings out. Really rings.
Oh, yeah. How long
Yeah.
ago
So,
was that? Just out of curiosity.
gee whiz. Oh man. Ooh, I think 2008. I
Okay.
can't be absolutely sure because I direct so many shows. I do a lot of musical theatre, and I direct a lot of musical theatre
I'm
for
asking
various
Mike
different companies.
because I've been to the UK twice. My dad brought me
Right.
once when I was 15, and then the other time I went for marching band when I was 17. And when we were there for marching band, we actually saw Buddy in London,
Wow.
and it was
Awesome.
awesome.
Unfortunately, I didn't direct the London production. I'm not quite that high up, but
Oh, okay,
I've directed all over the south of England for Amdram amateur work, and this was an amateur production of Buddy.
sure.
Um, And so, yeah, I bought this guitar, and I did exactly the same when I directed We Will Rock You. We bought a Brian Mayred special from, I think I'm right in saying it was the Burns rather than the Guild version, because that was what was available at the time. And but yeah, whenever I've done a show, I've always wanted to get the real deal. And this doesn't look any more Buddy Holly than it's about as Buddy Holly as it gets.
Yeah, that kind of looks like that Relic Strat, only not Relic, that John Frusciante uses live.
Exactly. He's got a two-tone burst. Rather than having an extra sort of orange burst in it, this goes direct from like the wood color to the black burst. And that's exactly what the 50s spec was. And that's why Buddy Holly had the single tone burst. And this is exactly it. And funny enough, when I got it, I think it was around the 50th anniversary. So it doesn't actually say on the headstock, but it's a bit of a shame. It does say on the case. And so I think this is one of the cheaper. Oh, sorry, I'm pulling my microphone around. Hopefully that hasn't made it cut out. No, so this one I think is one of the. It's still American made, but it's one of the sort of run of the mill ones rather than the one with the. Oh, hang on. No, there you go. It has got the. Let me unplug it. Sorry, you'll see it's got the base plate on it as well.
Oh, nice.
50th anniversary base plate. So, yeah. So that kind of shows that it's the 50th anniversary one. And funny enough, the year I did Buddy, it was either the year of or the year after the 50th anniversary. So these were quite easy to get hold of then. I bought this one at Anderson's.
Nice.
Actually went in and said, have you got a 50th anniversary single burst? And they said, yeah, we've got one. Would you like to see it? And I said, no, I would like to buy it. And they went, what? I said, I would like to buy it. And they said, but you haven't played it. I said, it's for a theatre production, and the theatre production is going to pay for me to keep it. So I just want it. And
nice.
I played the thing. I just bought it. But it's a nice guitar. Let me go and put it back. Bear with me.
Sure.
So yeah, it was quite fun actually. I love going into Anderson's and saying that, do you want to try it? No, box it up. I'm taking it.
Nice. So how close are you to Guilford then?
I'm about an hour and 20 away, I would say. I'm just down by the South Downs in a place called Burgess Hill.
Okay. I was going to say, because when I went over to the UK, we went to Norfolk, like Ipswich, Norwich area, stayed in Sheringham. And then furthest west, I think we went was Bath.
Right. Bath's beautiful. Bath and Wells are beautiful places.
Yeah. Well, we went to Wales too. I think it was by train though. Like we didn't stop anywhere.
Right. Okay.
But
yeah. No, Wales is good, but also Wells. Wells. That's right next to Bath. So you've got Bath and Wells, and they're both absolutely beautiful towns right next to each other. But yeah, Wales is really nice as well. I've actually rode a horse into Wales, and nice. I've never set foot in Wales because I was on the back of the horse the whole time I was in Wales. So my feet didn't touch the ground, but I've been in Wales.
Nice.
I had a girlfriend who used to live in Shropshire, and that's right on the Welsh border. And we horse rode for a day, and we rode into Wales and around and then back out. And I completely forgot to get off the horse, so I've never stood in Wales.
Oh, shoot.
Nobody knows that story. There you go. That's another original story for you there.
That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying to think what. Oh, so now that the you guys are loosening up quite a bit as far as the COVID restrictions. Are you able to go back into doing the production stuff again, or?
Yeah, I am at the moment as well. I'm teaching every Saturday morning. I'm a drama teacher, and I teach every Saturday. And also, I write and direct pantomimes around the Christmas time, and we're looking to do one this year. All things being well, if the health holds up, which it is, touch wood at the moment. Then I'm hoping to write and direct a brand new panto for the Christmas season, and I'm really, really happy. Although there's been a bit of an announcement recently that they're looking that they might start asking people to work from home again, because in the winter they think it could get worse again. I'm really hoping that doesn't mean that they shut down the theatre school again, because I have to say I really, really missed that. And actually, I think that was a lot to do with why I sort of fell a bit ill, to be honest, because I was really stressed with the fact that I couldn't teach and, all that good stuff. So I'm really hoping that they'll keep it all open this time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the YouTube channel for a minute. What prompted you to actually start the channel originally?
Oh, that's an easy one. A very, very easy one. I was watching my buddy Dave's in Texas, and also back in the day, he was called Pixie Licks. He's now called Steve from Boston. And they were showing guitars that were Chinese rip-offs. And I didn't believe it. I really didn't believe that they could get a copy of a Gibson Les Paul or whatever. And that was back in the day when you could set up a channel and do response videos. And so I only set up China Guitar Skeptic to do a response video to Dave's in Texas. And so I ended up buying one. And by the time this thing came 6 months later, which was a crazy, crazy wait, they'd stopped the video responses. So I had to put the video out of this guitar on my own channel. And then something about the name China Guitar Skeptic just went completely viral. And I got tons and tons of views. I bought 2 or 3 more of the guitars. I show various different makes and models, each time explaining why not to buy them rather than why to buy them, because a lot of guys were out there saying, oh, these things are great, these things are fantastic, and they really are not. So I showed all the faults and also a lot of the work to put the faults right. I'm not sure in retrospect if that was a great idea, really, because it maybe have encouraged some people to buy them and do them up. But really, my aim for the channel to begin with was just to debunk Pixie Licks and Dave's in Texas, to say, no way can you get a guitar, a Gibson or a PRS for 200 quid. I'm going to buy one and show you just how rubbish they are. And actually, it worked out really well, because a lot of these guitars really were rubbish, and it gave people the opportunity to see them for what they were, because I know that Dave and Steve are both really accomplished players and also accomplished techs. So they were able to put these things right before they showed them on their channel. And so it did give them an air of being halfway decent guitars. But actually, to be fair, back in the day, and I'm going back 9 years ago now, they really weren't. They were absolute rubbish. And I wanted to sort of show them for what they were. But I was an accidental YouTuber, because I was only doing it to reply to their videos. And then it just went crazy, crazy busy. And I thought, well, I've started, so I might as well carry on. Right. And 9 years later, I'm still doing it.
Yeah, and that's going well for you, obviously.
I have to say, is more, well, let me say it this way. Even now, after 9 years and having gone to a lot of events, I've been to Germany 5 times now, and I know so many people in the guitar community. Even now, it is just a hobby. This is just my hobby, and I do it because I love it. I love making videos for people that might help people to decide whether they like a particular guitar or a product or whatever, and also just to give people the honest opinion on these things as well. You know, when stuff's good, I say it's good. If it's not good, I've had so much stuff sent to me, and if it isn't good, I just won't make a video of it. I don't like to be negative, so I don't sort of make a video of stuff I don't enjoy. I just tend to write back to the company and say, I'm sending this back. It's not worth me doing a video on because I can't be, you know, positive about it in any way. So it's really just so much fun. And I have to say, the live shows, and now I'm sort of doing a Friday and a Sunday live, I just love them. I love the interaction with the good people out there. I think I always say this, and I'm sure that other YouTubers say it as well, but I think I'm right. I have the best audience on YouTube. There's such a kind, thoughtful, and nice bunch of people, and I just love hanging out with them. So, you know, that's really what keeps me going these days on the YouTube thing.
Awesome. And I know you've mentioned before, because Dave Simpson kind of has the same view you do. He won't review a piece of gear if he doesn't like it. Yeah. And I think that's commendable, because these small builders that are, up and coming, if they send you something that you think is garbage, you don't want to deter them from, having potential sales and stuff. So I totally get that.
Exactly. Yeah. Actually, most of the time, the small builders, I very rarely, in fact, I don't think I've ever turned away anything from a small builder because they tend to put their heart and soul into it. So they do tend to be good products. A lot of the things that I haven't reviewed or sent back have been sort of the budget end, the cheaper end of the market. Very oftentimes stuff that's sent from China, and I'll try it out and I'll just pack it back up and send it back to them and say, no, I'm not going to do that, because, as I said, I like to be a positive person. I don't like to, I love watching Glenn, from Spectre Sound. I love it when he finds something he hates and he goes to town on it, but that's really not me. I'd much rather be positive about stuff. And yeah, Dave Simpson, I have seen that he does very much the same. He doesn't review it if he doesn't like it. So yeah, I think that's a good way to be.
And I have to say, Mike, so for those of you watching, I didn't go into this earlier. I found out about Mike's channel through 42 Gear Street, watching Leigh Fuge. I think you and Leigh were teamed up for a couple different things. And I absolutely love 42 Gear Street. It's like my favorite stretch of YouTube for the year is like the 3 or 4 weeks immediately preceding that. How was this year compared to last year, do you think? Was it better? Was it about the same? Or
I go over to Henning. I absolutely adore my time in Germany. And every time is very different. The first time we had a contingent from all over the world. We had Australians, we had Americans, we had Canadians, and that was lovely. We had people from all over Europe as well. The second time last year, we could only get mainly Brits over and a couple of other Europeans because they couldn't actually fly from the States. And this year it was kind of a mix between year one and year two. So we had a few people back from year one and a few people back from year two. I just don't know why. I mean, Henning said on one of my videos, because I said I had no idea why you invite me back every time, Henning, but I'm one of only two people, me and Tom James from Elevated Jam Tracks, that have been to all three, and we got a little star on our badge this year from Michiel with the 3 in it. And I said, I don't get it. And he said, we just like you, Mike. And that was a lovely thing to say. But I have to say, each year has been very different. Each year has had different people. And with all these events, the people make it. And I have to say, I've got on with every single solitary YouTuber that's ever been to Gear Street. There's never been anybody that's been standoffish or snobbish or not friendly or any issues with anybody. They've all been absolutely sweet people. And, I've met Paul David at TGU, and we were going to do a video together at TGU 19. I met Kafir at GitCon and at TGU, and we always got on so well as well. And he was literally, when we saw each other, we just threw our arms around each other because it had been 2 years, and it was just great to see each other again. So it's really hard for me to say that any year is better than another year, because it's all about the people, and the people that have been there. Henning chooses amazingly well and gets a really, really broad spectrum of different types of channels with different kinds of content. And it just works. I'm just trying to think that if there has ever been at any of these events, anybody that I haven't got on with. Well,
that's,
so when
Mike,
you get
that's
on,
the wonderful thing about our community too, is like,
yeah,
you've been super helpful for me getting started. Leigh Fuge has been super helpful. Like Ryan from 60 Cycle Hum, like everybody I've talked to or reached out to for advice, it's just been awesome. And normally you don't get that.
No, that is exactly what they're like. That's exactly what everybody is like. I have to say, back at GitCon, I was so nervous going to GitCon. It was my first event. That was GitCon 2 back in October or September of 2018. And the only person I knew there was Steve from Boston. And I got in so late that I had to go to bed. So I was waking up in the morning and going down to breakfast. And there you've got the Tone King, Phil McKnight, Steve from Boston, and Phil X all sitting at a table. And as soon as Steve saw me, he got up, run over, put his arms around me, said, "Come and join us, man." And I sat down. And from that moment onwards, I chatted to all those guys. And it was like we've been friends forever, even with Phil X. And there you think Phil X would have a little bit of an ego, a little tiny bit of an ego. He hasn't. He's just a normal guy, great guy, really, really friendly guy. And I sat and had breakfast with him 3 times, twice on our own at GitCon. And Rick Beato drove me to and from every single day at GitCon, and with Adam Neely and Sean Daniel in the car. So it's like I got thrown right in at the deep end with all the big guys, and Pete Thorne and whatnot. And every single one of those guys gave me advice, gave me help. I was making all of my videos at that point on this, a Galaxy S7. I've literally just upgraded it, so I've kept it for sentimental reasons just here in the studio, but I was still making my videos at GitCon on a phone. So, they were telling me about gear and how to release videos, what to do in terms of the tags and all that good stuff that, you just don't realize until you meet other YouTubers that have been doing it for years. And there wasn't a single one of them that didn't give of their all. Literally, they would tell you everything you need to know. And that was just amazing. And so, yeah, I couldn't say that I've had a favorite event in Germany. I've had a favourite event in the UK, and that was the British Boutique Guitar Festival, because we've only done one, and we're the only one to do it in the UK. So,
And that was at your house,
I can say
right?
that's my favourite.
Was that at your house?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, because
all in
you
my
had some
studio
videos
here.
where you would go into your couch that's normally on. I'm like, I think that's at Mike's house.
Yeah, absolutely. We did the morning at the couch end of my studio, because I've got two sort of studio sets, and this is the other set. That's my live show chair right there, and the laptop I use to do the live show. So we started out on that end in the morning with the sofa, and ended up down this end in the afternoon. We had the jam there, and I played the drums while Bradley and Golden played their guitars, and Leigh Fuge, of course. And it was just great fun. I think I took every bit of advice that Henning gave me about that event, and also took a lot of the things that I liked and missed about other events like TGU and GitCon. And what I felt was that what I wanted to do was to do the normal video stuff with the shows, but in order to call it a festival, you have to have guys playing. So we did the jam in the afternoon. And the other thing I really loved about GitCon was the evening sessions where there was a jam. And then very often before the jam, they had a live Q&A. So we did that on the sofa after the jam as well. So I tried to incorporate all the bits that I loved from all the events I've been to in Germany. And as I say, I also got some great advice from Henning, because first thing I did before I put that event on was I went back to Henning and said, look, I'm thinking of doing something a little bit similar in the UK. Am I treading on your toes? And he said, no, man, that's great. Really, really good idea. Would love to help. And actually, unbeknown to me, he said he would have made his way over and come to it had he been invited. And I didn't have a clue, because it was all small brands. We didn't charge very much at all to come. So we didn't have the kind of budget that Henning has to put people up in the hotel and fly them over. But Henning said he would have come anyway. So believe me, next time we do it, and we're looking at perhaps doing it in February, I'm going to invite him. And if he's free and he wants to come, I'm going to have him here at this. So it should be good fun.
Nice. And Mike, I have to know, because I saw Henning's intro video, which pair of swim trunks did you end up with this year?
I got the Lego ones.
Oh, you did? Nice.
Yeah, but the saddest thing is I got the Lego ones because we were really naughty, and there were 4 or 5 of us that went up and just were looking through with Henning's mum, Hiltrud, who's an absolutely beautiful person, inside and out. She's a lovely, lovely lady. We were looking through this box, and I thought, I'm not gonna get the ones that Glenn got with the Adonis stuff on it. I thought, no, I'm going to go for something quite real and not too garish. But then I never actually went into the hot tubs, because I'm not a big fan of sharing hot tubs with big sweaty guys. I go in on holiday with my kids in a brand new, recently cleaned out and re-watered one that's only my own juices. But I'm not a big fan of YouTuber soup. So
yeah, I don't blame
I didn't go in them. No.
But yeah, he had some pretty crazy designs on those. I'm like, dude, I don't know how you're going to get these guys to agree to wear those, because some of those are pretty. I mean, you know Henning's wardrobe; it's totally outlandish and hilarious. And speaking of Henning, did anybody prank him this year and get away with it?
Oh man, we are always pranking Henning. That's one of the great things about it. You know, Henning he comes across as really, let me say, really German and efficient. And he is incredibly efficient and very German. But he's also got the most amazing sense of humor. And actually, he's he had this pedal test that we all played on. I'm not sure if he's released the video yet, so I don't want to spoil the surprise. But let me just say that Henning's not a big fan of Sebastian Bach and Skid Row. And before we all went in, we all learned to play a Skid Row number. And I was the first one to go in and play this Skid Row number. And then every single YouTuber after me played that very self-same Skid Row number, because as soon as I started playing, he went, Mike! And it was hilarious. And I think there was some crotch grabbing that went on for anybody that was brave enough to play it. He said, "That's it. I'm going to grab you if you play it," and he actually did as well.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
He's a great guy. I can't begin to tell you how much of a real friend Henning is to me. We really, from day one, I think that's possibly why I get invited back. From day one, we just hit it off in every single way, shape, and form. We're both very technically minded. We both come from a background of audio mixing, and me from live and him from the studio, and everything technical. I always tried to take pressure off him by helping him out, setting stuff up and making stuff work. And I just love the guy and love hanging out with him. So it probably won't be too long, depending on when they change the requirements to get in and out of the UK, before I pop back over and see him and do a few days on my own with him, because we really just hit it off like best buddies, you know, from the first day we met. And he's been so supportive of me as well recently with all of the issues that have been going on. He's been absolutely amazing. Him and actually Rick Beato phoned me the other day and was on the phone with me for an hour or so, and he's been really, really supportive as well. So I'm just so fortunate to know these absolutely beautiful, kind people.
Awesome. So let's go back to your guitar playing for a minute. Think about back when you first started playing. Did you go, I'm sure you went through periods where you felt like you were kind of stuck, where you were having a hard time making progress. What's something that somebody taught you that helped you break out of that maybe you learned later in life that you wish you would have known when you first started playing?
Oh man, do you know what? I'm still blocked. I'm still mentally blocked at playing the guitar. And I think the only thing I've ever done is just carry on jamming, just enjoying it. I don't let myself get in the headspace too much where I worry about whether or not I'm playing the same old riffs over and over. I think also writing for me is a huge release, because you come up with a riff and you turn a riff into a tune, you turn the tune into a song, and next thing you know, you've recorded the bass, the drums, the two guitars, the vocals, and it's all down on the studio. And but in terms of getting blocked and not feeling I'm progressing, I still feel like that every day, every single day. I pick up the guitar and go, "Oh no, don't play that same riff again." And I think the thing is just to smile and to noodle about and just keep playing. The thing is, you can do all the exercises, you can do all of the arpeggios, you can learn all the scales, My buddy from Gear Gods, Trey Xavier, gave me a free access to his guitar course. And I watched the first 2 or 3 videos in it. And I learned so much that my head couldn't cope with carrying on doing the rest of the course, because it gave me ideas about scales, about inversions, about chords, about how the chords relate to the scales. And still, even this was back 2 years ago at 42 Gear Street 1. And still, I'm using the same stuff that I learned from his first 3 videos to expand my playing and my knowledge. And there is nobody, unless they do sort of 18 hours a day and every single day of the year for maybe 5 or 10 years, there's no way that we can all learn every bit of all of the theory about guitar. You know, Rick Beato is probably the most knowledgeable guy I've ever met on music theory. Him and Adam Neely together were a complete brain wreck for me, because listening to those 2 guys talk and, you know, analyze music, and both of them turned around to me and said, it's like a language. It's not anything to do with music. Music is all like speech. It's like we're conversing now. It's just knowing the rules and knowing the language. You know, if we didn't speak English, we wouldn't be able to communicate. And that's all it is. But when you actually get out there and play, it's just music. And you don't think about all the rules and about all the phrases and the words. It's just, you know, from here. And I've always followed that in a way, even before those guys said that to me. But it really brought it home that that is exactly what music is. It's an expression. And there is no right and wrong. That's why I don't care whether people think I'm a great player or a rubbish player, because I'm happy with my playing, even though I'm blocked.
Right.
So, yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Let me see what else I have written down for you. What's your favorite piece of gear you've ever reviewed?
Wow. Oh, my Lord. I am going to say my Fractal Audio, the Axif X3. I had to check what it's called because my brain doesn't seem to engage at the moment. So actually, you know, going around that loop. But yeah, the Axif X by a long way. I mean, when I plugged that in and plugged the guitar into that, the tones I got out of that were just, they just blew me away. They sound like the real deal to me. And I had a similar sort of experience with Amplitube 5 Max, and really, really loved playing that and working with Amplitube. But no, I think it still would go back to the Axif X, and probably a pretty close second, the RD amps that the guys Rob Dix came to the British Boutique Guitar Festival. And these amps, this is this actually
the red one behind you, right?
To the red one. That actually belongs to Lewis Trower, and I've just been doing a video with his guitar there, the LT Custom Telly, and through that amp. And man, Rob Dix amps are just out of this world. They just do what you want them to do. They're a perfect pedal platform, and so I really enjoyed that. But again, I would go back to the same thing that I said to you earlier on. I only do videos and gear reviews on stuff I like. So, you know, I've liked all of it. But I think the thing that would make the Axif X and the amp stand out is that moment you first try it and you hear a tone that you just think, wow. You know, and it's that wow moment and that beautiful surprise that kind of separates them. out and makes them special.
So is the Axe-Fx, is that kind of like that 2 notes torpedo where it's got like the built-in like amp settings where you can have like Marshall or Orange or...
Yeah, the Axe-Fx is literally the Axe-Fx is just a 3-unit rack, and it has got every amp model you could think of on it, and a few more that you probably wouldn't think of, and literally it's got like 500 settings on it, and or slots, and a lot of them are user slots, but the ones that have already been programmed were just perfect. You know, I use the Line 6 Pocket Pod all the time, and you have to noodle with that, and also with the Pod version 2, and you can get some amazing tones out of that. But the Axe-Fx, literally, I plugged into it. I was one of the first people in the UK to get it. I plugged into it to do a review, and I played it non-stop for about 9 hours, just going through the basic tones on it. And it was inspiring, and I absolutely loved it. So, yeah, it's nice surprises like that that really, you know, make the difference.
I'll have to write that down. And Mike, this is more of a personal question about rig. You mentioned Amplitube before. Can you actually record on Amplitube, or is it just an amp model simulator?
Oh, no, you can record on it. Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
And here's why I'm asking. I'm trying to change my mobile rig because I have a local guitar shop that I have an agreement with now that's going to let me go film when they get stuff in. And so rather than take like my ProSonus audio box and all my mics and stuff, I'd like to have something that's mounted on my tripod where it's like a camera direct into. That's what I was looking at as the iRig.
Right. Okay. This is the 42 Gear Street. The lovely guys from Amplitube from IK Multimedia gave me this. This is just literally a USB connection. It comes with iPhone connection. It comes with iMac connection. It comes with all sorts of connections that go in this top piece here. And this will run Amplitube, no problem. You've got 2 multi-inputs. You've got a pair of 1/4-inch outputs to go to monitors, and you've also got a headphone with a level on it, and you can take that out into your camera, and you could use Amplitube on any small device, on iPhone, on a tablet, or whatever you want to run it on, and you can take that audio signal out. I mean, I use this, you know I do. This is my mobile rig, right there, the Pocket Pod. Okay. And I plug that direct into my camera, direct out of the back there, using a dual output headphone splitter, and I go straight into my camera, and that's how I recorded all of the 42 Gear Street demos. But this is looking to get this one up and working, you know, using a spare iPhone, because iPhone and this are tiny, and anything that makes my rig that a little bit smaller would be great. They do much smaller versions of this. You can get one that's just like a little stick with an input like that, and you can put a mic or a guitar into it, and plug that straight into a phone and straight out the phone into the camera. So, you know, that's what I'm looking to do. I try and make my travel rig as small and compact as I can, but as big sounding as I can. And I absolutely love the Amplitube software. I mean, it's just incredible. I've got it here, actually. I don't think, because I'm using the, actually, I better not put it on, because it might put the effect on my voice, because I'm going into the Focusrite with the same input that I use for the guitar on Amplitube. But yeah, literally, I can record that And also it's a plug-in VST as well. So most audio recording software and multi-track, DAWs, digital audio recorders, will take it as a plug-in. So you can plug straight into the desk, bring up the plug-in on that channel, and you can have any tone you want from Amplitube. And I love it. And also there's another one called Blue Cat Audio that I met at the Second Gear Street. And again, brilliant software, really amazing software. It allows you to put several of your favorite amps on this page, and then you can kind of move your mouse around and have a mix between like 8 or 9 different amps, and you can just find the absolute ultimate tone that you're after. So yeah, I've been really spoiled. I've had a lot of lovely toys that I've been fortunate enough to play with due to the channel, and yeah, they've all been real good little tools. But I still default back to the Axe Effects, because for my recordings and my own stuff, quite away from the channel, I use the Axe Effects. I use the Line 6 Pocket Pod as the great leveler for all my guitar demos on YouTube, but when it comes to my own recordings, I use the Axe Effects.
Sure. Well, thanks for that. I appreciate it, because I'm trying to grow as much as possible, and I think part of that is I need to start getting better quality. But
Right.
It's, do I upgrade my camera first, or do I go to a more mobile rig that's easier to carry around, or
Let me tell you one thing that I think it was Steve from Boston, or it might have even been Adam Neely, told me the most important thing, and that's why I'm using this, the most important thing on YouTube is the audio. People will forgive a slightly grainy picture. They will forgive, not great lighting in the background. They will forgive, even to a point, they'll forgive you having backlight and the sun behind you. But they won't forgive terrible audio. I don't know if you've ever listened to any YouTube videos where the audio was bad. It's so much more difficult to stay there and listen to that than it is to watch a bad video with great sound. So I would certainly echo those guys and say that make sure the audio is the top notch first. Get all the levels right. I would record on a multi-track DAW, digital audio workstation, so that you can isolate the voice tracks from the guitar tracks, and cut out the voice when the guitar's on and cut out the guitar when the voice is on. So it sounds really good. And actually there's a very cool piece of free software out there called Audacity. I don't know if you've heard of it, but Audacity is a great bit of free software, and that is an audio manipulation software, and I use it all the time, even still. There's 2 bits of audio software I use. One is Audacity, and the other one is RX8 by Isotope. And I use that to clean up audio, to get rid of reverb, to treat audio to make sure it sounds, nicely balanced. But the Audacity does a lot of what that does, and it's free. Whereas Isotope is about 900 quid, or about $100. Yeah, it's not a cheap bit of kit, but that's for really good reason. They're out of Boston, so you might get it cheaper in the States. But yeah, I couldn't be without either of those things. I would rather still shoot video on my phone and get great audio than, have £1,000 cameras or multi-1,000 cameras. I mean, I'm fortunate. I've got 3 GH5s with really nice lenses on in the studio now. But to me, the audio's number one, absolutely number one.
And that's the piece I think I have figured out finally, because my thing is I was having, like, you could hear every single time I hit the strings with the pick. And then I bought an SM57 to start miking the amp with, and that went away immediately.
Great.
So that was nice.
Yeah, awesome. Best way is to close mic cab and separate the speech audio from the guitar audio. That's an absolute must, and Audacity will allow you to do that because you can record it on a multi-track, bring it into Audacity and cut it up and chop it up and make it all fit in together. So yeah, I definitely recommend that. It's a great way to go, man. And if you can isolate it completely by when I use the line 6, that goes straight into the camera, and I've got no vocal audio. I will do the vocal audio separately and then slot the bits of playing in. And so literally all my camera's picking up is the output from the Pocket Pod. So, there's that's direct in and digital. So, really, really high quality.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't really have anything else for you. I think I've asked you all the questions I wanted to know that you haven't talked about on the channel, or I haven't heard you talk about.
Yeah,
Anything
man,
else
that's cool.
you have for me at all?
No, just that if ever there's anything I can do to help, with the channel, I would say don't focus on growing the channel. Focus on doing stuff that you love doing, because that is what an audience will respond to. They really see if you're enjoying what you're doing. And at the same time, if you just make videos for the sake of making videos, it shows, and that's something I've always avoided. That's why I very rarely, well, I say very rarely, I do it more and more often now. I get paid to make the videos, but that's because of the reach of the channel and because of the number of subs and that kind of thing. You kind of have to, because otherwise you're putting other channels of a similar size at a disadvantage by not charging. But I still only do stuff that I like doing. And even if it's turning down a paid gig, a paid product placement, if I don't like the product, I won't do it. I just won't. So you've got to do what you really enjoy. But if there's anything I can help you with, I love making your logo. I think it looks great on the t-shirt as well.
Oh, thank you. Really the only pushback I've gotten so far has been, like, I'm a below average guitar player, right? And
no, you're not.
I think I am, but that's how I push my channels. Like, hey, this is a channel by an average guitarist for other average guitar players. Like, I want this to be a place for dudes that maybe only have like an hour a week to can come and watch me tool around with gear and not feel bad about, oh, I suck at guitar because I can't play very often. And I've had some people get like, dude, you suck at guitar. It's like, apparently you didn't watch videos where I clearly explained that I'm not that good at playing guitar. So I've had some pushback on that recently, but other than that, I'm having a blast. So,
oh, it's great, man. That's what it's all about. And if you're having a blast, your audience will pick up on that and your audience will continue growing. Don't worry about the growth of the channel. Don't worry about the YouTube algorithm. Unless you're doing it as your day job and you have to grow it, it's much better to grow organically through and build a community. When I gave up doing the Chinese guitars, I've had periods where my subscriptions have dipped really badly, and I've never worried about it. I've never been concerned, because the one thing that has always kept going this way is the core audience, the people that come back every single video, that are on every single live stream, that I consider to be real friends. They're growing and growing and growing, and it grows slowly over time. And you will find that your audience is a lot more fun to make content for if they're an audience you love and respect, and they see you enjoying what you're doing. That's all that counts, man. Everything else is just, as Dave Simpson would say, everything else is just gravy, man.
Right. Awesome. Well, hey, Mike, again, thank you so much for joining me. And to those of you watching, thank you for watching as always. Have fun playing, and make sure you check out Mike's channel if you have not. I will post links to where you can find his stuff. And yeah, thanks, Mike. Have a good one.
Thanks so much for having me on, man. And a very happy birthday to you again.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.